All right, so today I want to talk about Disclosure Day, the new sci-fi movie directed by Steven Speilberg, which is coming out soon, and a lot of people are very excited about it because it looks like Spielberg really returning to his roots, a la something like Close Encounters, a government conspiracy about UFO alien cover-up. Looks great. First trailer, very encouraged. Since then, I don't know, I'm kind of getting a vibe that it might be a little, safe and generic, as some of his movies tend to. It just kind of falls into a little bit of cliche and schmaltz. We'll see. There's a sequence in the trailer where this little girl is in her bedroom and this reindeer, CGI reindeer, comes into her room, and then she's walking through the forest with the reindeer by her side, and I'm kind of going, this is starting to look less X-Files and more fairy tale storybook, if that makes any sense. But anyway, there's aspects of it I really like, and Emily Blunt is a great lead, great actress, so we shall see. But I wanted to talk about the film in the context of suspension of disbelief for audiences today, given our technology, given AI, given social media, and given just a general lack of trust in authority, which, to be fair, so many authorities in our lives, so many institutions, have proven themselves to be untrustworthy. So how can you blame people? And in this movie, in this trailer, they show the general public reacting to the news about this disclosure. So there's this guy, this one character, and it looks like he's got some sort of a USB drive, like a thumb drive or something, and he's going to release this information. He's going to disclose everything to the public, and there's no going back, and the world will never be the same again. And you're kind of going, okay, when you see the audience, when you see the general public watching on their televisions and they're watching the news or something, they're supposed to be a stand-in for us, the audience. And if you ever have a sequence in a movie now where it's like, the news are like, ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to watch, many of you may find disturbing, or whatever. Now when someone sees something like that, it's like aliens or a UFO over the White House or whatever it might be, people's reactions are going to vary, but there's not going to be an awful lot of buy-in in the way there would have been 30, 40 years ago. And I think in particular, for the last few years, people just don't react the way they do in movies, and you can see that with all sorts of things. Just look at how people react to Artemis 2, for example. Now, wherever you stand on that, and wherever you stand on Apollo, it's not really the point. Just full disclosure, I do believe the Earth is a sphere, and I do believe we've been to space. Okay, so I think it's a real place. But can you really blame people for being skeptical, regardless of what you believe about those events? And also, just as an aside, the internet is, there's that meme that goes around that the internet used to be the place where you went to escape reality, and now it's the opposite. Which is true, because people's empathy levels are lowered when they're debating online with other people. This is actually proven, right? So discourse is not very civil or productive, and so people just tear strips out of each other. That passive aggressive, imagine being an adult and still believing in X, Y, and Z. It doesn't matter what you believe about space or the moon or the shape of the earth, right? It doesn't matter, right? Look, I've got friends who think that the earth is a pancake, okay? And they're still my friends, okay? And I remember years ago, sitting in cafes, having really interesting conversations about conspiracies and stuff with friends who about the moon, about Apollo. We still walked away as friends at the end, even though we disagreed. And I think the internet, was it ever like that? I'm not sure. You know, it's everyone, it's just constant one-upmanship. So yeah, I prefer those coffees to to conversations on X. It's just brutal, man. It's absolutely brutal. And people are far too wedded to the things they believe as part of their identity. So when they encounter someone who doesn't believe what they believe, they just let them have it, which is just, I don't know, it's just sad. It's just sad, whatever. But my point is, like, can you blame people, especially given how good AI is, can you blame people for not trusting institutions, or for seeing footage of something or photographs or whatever it might be, some news event, and going, that's fake, that's a psyop, that's a hoax, that's whatever, right? Because there have been throughout history events like that. And you know, follow the money. Why are they doing this? You know, and it's, look, I think it's a healthy thing that people are more skeptical of authority now. I think they should be. The problem, though, is that eventually you have to ask, what is reality? You know, what is real? And I think for a situation, and this is the aspect of this movie that, I mean, I haven't seen it yet, obviously, but I'll know when I see it. But this might be the challenge now for suspension of disbelief with a movie like this, which is, can you put yourself in the shoes of that audience in the movie, and they're huddled on the couch together, and, you know, they're watching the disclosure? Would you believe? Or, you know, how many people really would? A lot of people are just going to be cynical and go, yeah, that could easily be faked. And so the film is being made at a time when trust is probably at an all-time low. And given how persuasive, realistic AI and CG is, how can it ever be any other way? What would make it return? I don't know. That's going to be a challenge. Everything could be faked. So yeah, this idea that one man holds the key to the future, or whatever, you know, someone's got like some scandal on a drive, and they're gonna go to the media. I'm gonna expose this on CNN. Yeah, you're gonna believe that. Yeah, but if some mainstream publication publishes something or shows some footage of something, you're gonna believe them. That's where we are. You know, there's a kind of a race to the bottom online now to be as skeptical and maybe even as nihilistic as possible. Just don't believe in anything. Oh boy. And this all comes back to this place, the real world. As people trust less online and less what they see in the mass media, I think that they will have to return to relying more on, this is the way it should be, real world relationships and news they get person to person, as it was pre-internet and pre-mass media, even pre-television. So maybe that's where we're headed. I don't know. I'm still looking forward to seeing Disclosure Day, and I hope it's a good movie, and I hope that my concerns about it are ill-founded. But there you go. Those are my thoughts on this rather complicated issue. I have to say, when it came to Artemis 2, I am like Fox Mulder. I want to believe. And I do. Genuinely. But when they showed like pictures of the Earth from the moon in orbit, and some people are like, this is amazing. This is and look, it is spectacular. It is awe-inspiring, or it should be, right? So why wasn't I awe-inspired? And I think it's because on social media, we're just consuming massive amounts of content and information. And I can go to an AI and I can generate an image that's very like that, that's perfectly photorealistic. and fake, inauthentic. And so the real world is having to compete against a very convincing fake world, and that's why it has no impact. And it's the same. It's not just AI. It's if you see, if they go to the moon or they land on Mars, and if it's real, and they show you the footage, they show you the photographs, my eyes can't tell the difference between what I saw in a Hollywood movie of the moon and Mars and images from NASA or whoever else. So I think that's the reason why part of me my brain just can't get excited for it. That's terribly cynical, isn't it? I think that might be part of the Faustian bargain we've made with modern smart technology. That, it's taken away the wonder and the majesty of things, but it's already all around us in the real world. So do try to make time to just go out and touch grass and get off the screens, right? Yes, this is actually more important. After all, the real world is the only place, the outside world is the only place where you can verify the authenticity of it. Whereas everything that you see through your screen now on your smartphone, your tablet, your monitor, what can you trust? Hollywood movies have been taking us to these places before we as human beings got there. And so when I see footage from, real space footage, I kind of go, yeah, that's cool. But I've seen just as good shots in movies, in CGI. You know what I mean? I don't know. So maybe I just can't get. I wish I could get more enthusiastic about it, but there you go. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. I'm just rambling on here. Let me know your thoughts on Disclosure Day and your hopes for that movie, and subscribe if you haven't. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.